This video response is going to go out to Benjamin Alexander and Sam Adams, and I'm going to be a lot more respectful to Benjamin Alexander than I am to Sam Adams. Okay? And there's a good reason for this, and I'll cover that a little bit later. Now, I watched a video entitled, "What is Health Insurance and Why Do You Need It?" And after watching the video, I discovered an egregious error. And when I discovered the error, I made a video entitled, "When was the first health insurance created?" And I sent this video out to lots of people. And I had good reason to do this. Both Benjamin Alexander and Sam Adams responded back to me. And I'm going to deal with Sam Adams first. Alright? Sam Adams writes, to quote Dr. Aaron Carroll from the video, "The first real plans in the U.S. appeared around the time of the Civil War." Okay. Now then, I don't know if either one of you or anybody else watching this video has ever heard of Dan Brown. Well, Dan Brown is a YouTuber. His handle on YouTube is Pogobat, and he made a video about digital piracy. And if we were to use the reasoning that he was using on his video, then here's what would happen. You'd have a blueberry pie, you'd have 6 people who would want a slice of that pie. But hey, don't divide the pie, divide the people. This is the kind of inaccurate and inadequate information that I find on YouTube and on the internet all the time. It's ridiculous and it's wrong. Okay. So, what is my response to Sam Adams? Well, the Massachusetts Insurance Company was formed in 1849. Now then, 2 other insurance companies were formed around that same time, about 1846 and 1847. Okay? The Kansas Nebraska Act was not enacted until 1854. That was one of the big catalysts that started the Civil War. Okay? So, considering the fact that 1846 and 1847 and 1849 occurred before 1854, then this was not around the time of the Civil War. That's an inaccurate statement, pure and simple. So your reasoning is incredibly flawed, and you really need to go back to school. End of story. Alright. Now that we've dealt with Sam Adams, let's go ahead and deal with Benjamin Alexander. Now, like I said, I made a video in response to what is health insurance and why do you need it. I sent it to Benjamin Alexander, and basically, he did send me a nice long email, and his basic question was, why did you send this to me? Okay. So, I responded back to him, and I said, John Green had a college degree, or has a college degree. That's a fact. And I also said that John Green has a group of experts working for him. That's a fact. I don't have either one. I do have a technical degree from a technical academy. Okay? I also graduated 7th out of a class of 65 students from high school, so I'm not a high school dropout. I also did go to college, but I had to drop out due to finances. Had nothing to do with my grades. I just had bad finances, and I finally had to drop out. The end. Okay? Now, I did successfully prove the point that you don't have to have a college degree to be smart. Abraham Lincoln was smart. He didn't have a college degree. He made himself out to be a lawyer, and he also became our 16th president. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were both college dropouts. Bill Gates formed Microsoft. Steve Jobs formed Apple. So therefore, it proved that you could be very successful without a college degree. Okay. Now, here's the next statement I said. And wouldn't you agree that someone who could afford to have a group of experts working for him should have a higher degree of accuracy than someone who doesn't? Okay. Apparently you didn't agree with this, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but the point is that I work with a lot of blue-collar workers, okay? These are people facing eviction and starvation right now. I also deal with kids facing massive bullyism. I mean, just take a look at the school shootings on a regular basis. That should prove my point. The point is that these kind of people do say to me on a regular basis that we expect more from somebody who is college educated and has a research staff working for them than we do from somebody like you who doesn't have either one. That's a fact. And if you'd like, you can go to these blue-collar workers on your own and find out for yourself that they agree with me. Okay? So, in my initial response to you, I also said, now let's consider one more thing. If you take a look at my main channel page, which apparently you did, you will see a playlist devoted to the healthcare law. That's true. But I'm sure you will immediately notice that the videos are entitled Healthcare Bill. That's also true. Wouldn't you agree that I've been talking about the healthcare law long before it became a law? Well, I don't know about long before, but it was definitely before it became a law. Now, I know there's going to be a bunch of people out there who are going to say, well, when was the law enacted? And then you'll go researching it and you'll put a comment down below. I may even do that when I finish this video. I may put a comment down below saying, hey, this is when the law was established. And of course you can see that my initial videos predate that. So obviously I've been covering the subject a lot longer than if it was an actual law. I don't think anybody's going to have any doubt of that. Okay? So why isn't everyone rushing so fast to watch this set of videos? That's a good question. Shouldn't they be rushing in droves to watch mine? I think so. I agree that I don't know as much as John Green. That's true. But at least I took the time to talk about the topic long before he did. That's true. Alright, so what was your response back to me? Alright. Hi, you seem like a nice enough person. Most of the time I am. I do get a little jaded, and I have good reasons for doing so. When I see this many people facing eviction, starvation, and bullyism, and their suffering is so egregious that I have to get on YouTube to try to help them out, then yeah, I can be a little jaded at times. But I generally try to be a nice person. That's why I'm doing this more respectfully to you than I was to Sam Adams. Okay? Because I don't like dealing with the Dan Brown types. They just think they're hot shots, and I get sick and tired of it. Listen, these people don't have a whole lot of time on their hands. The ones facing eviction, starvation, and bullyism. If they don't learn, and quickly, they're going to face a situation that's going to be dire indeed. They're going to be in massive, imminent peril. And I know I can do something about it, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Okay? I'm making the assumption that you want people to listen to you. Well, now you know why I want people to listen to me. Okay, their situation is grim, and I am doing my best to assist them. I don't know why, which of course now you do. Let's see. You need more than just a collection of statements which are true. True, John Green has a college degree. We both agree on that. True, you don't, I assume. Well, you don't have to assume, because I just stated I have a technical institute degree and I had to drop out of college because I couldn't afford it. Okay? True, people don't need college degrees to be smart. We both agree on that. True, but only in the narrowest sense of the phrase. But I think someone would have higher expectations from a college graduate than from a college dropout. Virtually every single blue-collar worker I work with agree with that statement. And like I said, all you have to do is meet these blue-collar workers and ask them that question, and I think you'll be surprised at the answer. Alright. This typifies my resistance to your style of rhetoric. There may be a person, which now we've established there's a lot of them out there, who could have higher expectations in whatever specific way you mean. Well, I think I made my meaning crystal clear. But when I read this sentence, I can't bring myself to agree wholeheartedly. Well, you haven't met enough blue-collar workers who are facing eviction, starvation, and bullyism. As soon as you do, you'll realize that what I'm saying is true, and therefore, I don't look down on people with less education. I'm glad for that. You're one of the rare ones. I have to say that you're really one of the rare ones. Okay? I've dealt with a lot of people that definitely don't see things your way. And I try not to glorify the insights of people with prestigious degrees. I'm glad for that because I have colleges and universities where I have actually met people that glorify people like this. And erroneously glorify people like this. It's wrong and it's very immature. Okay. At least in this context, Dr. Aaron Carroll has, I'm sure, a great deal of education in medicine. I agree with you. He may even have public policy and political insights worth respecting because of his experience. Again, I will agree. But I don't treat his historic knowledge as rarefied. Okay. So you picked a fact from the beginning of his discussion on insurance. Yes, I did. Show that it was possibly incomplete. It was highly inaccurate. Not possibly incomplete, highly inaccurate. Like I said, 1849 is a full 6 years before the Kansas Nebraska Act, which was one of the primary culprits of the Civil War. So again, inaccurate. By no means did you show it failed to have a higher degree of accuracy. Oh, I did. I gave my reason in my initial comment, and I didn't agree with it. And then went on to ask, why is everyone rushing so fast to watch this set of videos? Shouldn't they be rushing in droves to watch mine? Again, a valid question. It seems that you come off a little bit aggressive towards Dr. Carroll and John Green. Well, when you're presenting highly inaccurate and inadequate information, yeah, I'm going to be a little aggressive, especially when people are depending upon that knowledge to get higher paying jobs. Let me tell you a story. When I was in college, I had an accounting teacher. There was no doubt in my mind that he knew about accounting and business. No question. But he was a very poor teacher, and 17 of us almost flunked out of his class because of it. But when I realized his teaching method, I actually brought it before the school board, who in turn, and I know it's probably the college dean or whatever the heck you want, I don't care about the titles. The point is, I brought it to the school administration, said this guy is teaching wrong, and they came to the same conclusion I did. And they fired him. Not because of his lack of knowledge in accounting, but his lack of knowledge in teaching. So you can be good at medicine and be a very poor teacher. And this is very poor teaching. The end. And when I see poor teaching, I call it. It's no different than D. Lukens 9 when he sees that I'm not doing an accurate job. He calls upon me, and I come back and I say, you know what? I screwed up. I'm sorry. I got inaccurate information, and so let's fix this. And I do. I learn as much as I teach. So, there you are. The point is that Dr. Aaron Carroll and John Green need to correct this, and quick, because this is just plain wrong. And if they don't, I'll correct them. Alright. You don't come across as someone who just wants to clarify a point or a fact. You seem to resent his popularity. I resent it because these people are believing what he says, and because of this inaccurate information, they're finding themselves facing eviction, starvation, and bullyism. I don't care if you believe me or not, but that's the facts. Alright. Now that may not be a reflection of who you really are. Well, I think I've pretty much reflected myself accurately. But after making my superficial assessment, it's just a superficial assessment. Do not make a superficial assessment. You didn't even read my mission statement. It's on my main channel page. All you had to do was take a look and you'd see. Of the one video you promoted and then reading your one comment, my opinion of you hasn't moved. Well, maybe if you do a little more research, it will. I have limited time and I'm not going to spend any more of it on you. Well, I found you worthy enough to spend time on, so maybe you'll spend a little more time in this. I hope you find your audience. Truly, I do. Well, I'm working on it. They need me bad enough, I can tell you. But I don't think your videos will appeal to the exact same audience that John Green and Dr. Carroll have. Well, some of their audience is intellectuals. I will grant you that. But some of their audience is the blue-collar workers I was referring to. And hopefully I'm appealing to them. Their videos are more focused, better written, more carefully edited, and have better sound and lighting and are higher resolution. Okay, that is like saying, well, they got this beautiful car, they have all these wonderful options on the car, but let me tell you something. If the steering wheel pops up, the car is worthless. Same thing. The jokes are corny, but serve the larger point of the videos well. Not to mention that John and Hank Green have promoted this channel and they have a huge audience already. So you're saying that they're not going to watch my videos unless I invest thousands upon thousands of dollars in advertising to get them to watch my videos. This is ridiculous. Alright. I'm hoping I'm not surprising you with this assessment. Well, it did take me by a little bit of surprise. Your video was not nearly as good, and it's no surprise to me why you don't have the views that they do. Well, when somebody is facing eviction, starvation, and bullyism, they're going to need me more than ever. Because I'm about the only one that seems to be fighting for them. At least that's the way I feel. Let me tell you something. You can give a man a fish and he eats for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he eats for a lifetime. I don't want these people going through the embarrassment of have to ask me for a loaf of bread. And I don't want that financial burden upon myself. I'm sure you don't want that financial burden upon yourself. And that's what I'm doing here. To keep both parties happy. Oh well. Asking why people aren't rushing to watch yours is a bit mind-boggling to me. Well, it's not mind-boggling to me. The only thing is, why aren't they doing it? Is it I'm just not promoting myself enough? Maybe I should. Oh well. Do I need to emphasize that I'm not passing judgment on you as a person? Well, I'm glad for that. Or even as a public intellectual. I'm glad for that. This is just about the video itself. Best wishes, Ben. My point is that when people are facing eviction, starvation, and bullyism, they need accurate information. Why? Because we are shifting from an industrialized society to an intellectual society. And if you're not smart in this society, you're starving. And you could starve to death. And the poor kids that are facing that bullyism, if you don't get in those advanced placement classes, those bullies will continue to torment you until you do. That's why I'm here. So, hopefully I was more respectful to you than I was to Sam Adams. I just can't handle people like Sam Adams. They're too much like Dan Brown, and I can't handle him either. And now you know why. Alright. I think I've said enough as it is. I do tend to babble, and I'm sorry for that. Anyway, I will tell you all more in a future video. Stay tuned.